It's that time again, some quick and easy camping cooking. So stay tuned. Well, it's been a little while, but I am back with a few more recipes. Hopefully these will get you through some warmer months and not have to be outside in 97-degree heat on a grill. So I have some Instant Pot, crock pot, low heat kind of things for you to make. So the first one is going to be Olive Garden Italian chicken. Olive Garden dressing. You need one of the 16-ounce bottles. This is a 24-ounce that I had already used, but there's still 16 ounces in there. You need some Italian seasoning, lemon juice, and you can use fresh squeezed, but this was easier for me. A half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and about 3 or 4 chicken breasts, just depends on how much you want to make. So I have 3 chicken breasts, and these are pretty good size, in a gallon-size Ziploc bag. And I'm going to use this as my bowl so I don't have to wash another one. So you need 1 to 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. I usually do about a rounded 1 tablespoon because the 2 tablespoons for me was a little bit much. 1 tablespoon, or hefty tablespoon. Then you need 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And if you have one of those handy dandy little racks that holds a Ziploc bag, that might be a good thing to have on hand. All right, now your half cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And I had already measured this out before we left the house. But you just use you can use, fresh grated Parmesan. I just use the kind that's in canister, like you shake over spaghetti or pizza. Usually it's in the green canister. And then your 16 ounces of Olive Garden Italian dressing. And you can use the low fat version. I've used both and it turned out great either way. This was just one I had on hand. So pour that in. And just give it a good mix. And you probably could even do this directly in the crock pot rather than in a separate bowl. It was just easier because I had it in the bag already. So take it to your crock pot. And I have pre-sprayed this one just because it's a metal liner. You don't have to, since there's enough oil in the original version of Olive Garden dressing that you probably wouldn't need it. But just in case, if you want to give a light spray, or you know me, normally I use a liner in the crock pot and then you can just toss it. So I'm going to kind of spread these out a little bit. I have 1 very large chicken breast. I probably should have cut it, but that's okay. It will work. You are going to let this cook on low for 7 hours. So it's early in the morning. We're getting ready to go out for the day, and I just put it in and it cooks all day, and we go have fun, and we come back and dinner's almost ready. I love it. Well, we have been out and enjoyed our day, and now it's time to eat some dinner. I have our Olive Garden chicken in the crock pot. It cooked for 7 hours on low. And so here we go. So it's nice and golden brown. Now, you can serve this multitude of ways. We usually either eat it as the chicken breast whole with rice, or you can slice it up on a salad on these hot days. It's a winner. So I'm gonna take a couple out and slice them up. I have already made a couple of salads for us to eat them with. And if we have leftovers, we can have them tomorrow with something else. Now, one word of advice. I think it does better if you make it the night before so that all the seasonings can kind of soak into the chicken. I just mix everything up and put the spices and everything in with the chicken in a container sealed at least one night to allow it to kind of soak in. I didn't do that for this trip because I was showing it to you guys. But it is very moist, very tender. It's just kind of falling apart. I can't even cut it. So, serve it with, I made a Caesar salad because that's what the husband likes, and I actually like them too. As I've told you before, he's not a vegetable person. So there, add as much as, or as little as you like. And you have a nice, healthy, cool summer meal. One of the dishes we'll be making this time is Mississippi chicken. And a lot of people make Mississippi pot roast, which can use the same ingredients, but we're already having burgers, so I want to have some chicken too. So I'm going to spray my quick cooker, Instant Pot, crock pot, whichever you want to use. It can be done in both. You just have to change things up a little bit. So we have chicken breast. I cut one of the larger pieces in half, but most of mine are not real thick. The recipe called for you to cut them in half if they were larger. And I'm assuming they meant lengthways, not actually in half, but we're gonna go with it. So I have my chicken in my pot. I trimmed off some excess fat just because I wanted it that way. You need 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter because this already gets kind of salty, but that's your preference. So I've cut up 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. You need a packet of ranch, or if you buy the larger containers, about 2 tablespoons. And since I use this in my buffalo chicken, I just buy the container. So, put all that in there. A packet of au jus mix, gravy mix. It's so nice, you just pour everything in the pot. You know me, I like to leave it and go. You need a half cup of water, especially if you're using the Instant Pot quick cooker, so it has liquid to build up pressure. Some people use chicken broth. Then you get to decide how many of these pepperoncini peppers you want to use. They say half a jar. It's kind of to taste. I usually throw like 10 or so in there. It depends on how much meat I have and how spicy I want it. It doesn't get hot spicy, but it does give it a little kick. And a new jar, so these are difficult to come out. But you get the gist. Just kind of spread them out around the meat. If you're in a traditional crock pot, it's usually a little further apart. Ooh, that one's stuck. So this is a smaller jar, so it may be half a jar. That looks good. You can slice them up if you prefer it that way, but I don't. Too much work. All right, so you are going to add your lid. So you have your lid on. You want to select manual for 8 minutes. Then you will let it cook for the 8 minutes, and then a natural release for 5. That means you just let it sit for 5 minutes to depressurize, and then after the 5 minutes, you release what's left of the pressure. And that's it. You just throw it all in and go. Same thing with the crock pot. Of course, I'll link the information below about the crock pot version versus the Instant Pot. So we'll check back later. The most wonderful thing about an Instant Pot is that most things are cooked really quickly. So if you're in a hurry, this one's a great one to use as far as recipe. So you need to, as we did the 5-minute natural release, now you need to let the rest of the pressure out until the little red knob or pin drops, as it has done now. Yes. Here you will take your chicken out and shred it. You can keep the peppers or you can throw them away. You can actually add cornstarch to what's left of the juices and make a gravy if you choose to do so. I usually don't, but that's just me because I'm lazy. Ooh. I usually cook this recipe in the crock pot. I think the chicken stays more moist and tender. Not that it doesn't in the Instant Pot, I just prefer it. Plus, I can put it on and it can cook all day. But if you're in a hurry, you can use the Instant Pot. I've shredded all of my chicken. I'm gonna put it back in the pot with the juices. I left the peppers in there. I figure it just adds some more flavor while it's in the juice. And if I don't want to eat it, I'll take it out then. So. But as I said, you can add some cornstarch, thicken it up, you know, the gravy, the juice to a gravy if you decide to do that. It's great on rice, which is the way we serve it, which you would think that's all we ever eat because we eat a lot of rice and potatoes. You know, that husband who doesn't eat many vegetables. I do what I can. All right, if you like the peppers, you can add as many as you like from the pot and serve them up that way. And there you have it.
Protein and carbohydrates. Every man's perfect diet.
Well, this is the last recipe for this video, and by popular demand, I was asked to make something for dessert. So this is an Instant Pot recipe that you can make a cake, a dump cake, in the Instant Pot. Now, my quick cooker Instant Pot came with this nifty little pan that fits inside, but the recipe actually calls for a spring form pan, but I don't have one of those, so I'm gonna make do with this. So, and I've made it before, so it worked fine. You just wanna spray your pan with a little oil. Now, the recipe I had called for cherry pie filling. I'm gonna make it with peach, because it's summer, so why not? So, peach pie filling, you can use fresh peaches along with it. I've seen many different variations of this, including one that has white chocolate chips that I really plan on trying next time. So, you can use 2 cans of pie filling, but to me it made it a little too runny. So we're gonna try it with 1, which is probably why some people use fresh peaches and slice them up. So you just wanna line the bottom of your pan with whichever type of fruit pie filling you plan on using. You want a half of a box of cake mix, and I have already made this before, so this is the other half of my cake mix. And you want to layer that on top of your fruit and kind of spread it evenly once you get it on top. So smooth it out. Try to make it as even and go all the way to the edges if you can. So now that I've done that, you want 4 tablespoons of butter, and I've cut it up in little pieces because you want to kind of spread it out and cover as much of the cake batter as possible. And that one's just kind of clumped together. So you're going to spread those out. Try to cut it thin, but my butter started melting, so it started falling into a glob. All right, that looks pretty good. Let me get a paper towel and wipe off the butter. So you want some aluminum foil to go across the top of your pan so that it's fairly airtight, so you don't get a lot of moisture in Instant Pot. Which you gotta kind of work around your handles. Now you do need a trivet to set this pan on. My pot, and I believe most come with a trivet to seat one of these on top of. I'll show you that in just a second. This usually goes much easier when somebody's not watching me. So this is my trivet. So you just put that in the bottom, and then you need a cup of water because Instant Pots need water to build up pressure. So I'm gonna pour that in, and then I'm going to seat my pan on top of my trivet. Foil is giving me a hard time tonight. Well, let me fix that. This is why on cooking shows they have one already made. All right, so you seat this on top of your trivet as best you can. Pop your lid on, and you are going to set your timer for 25 minutes. So, and hit start, and we'll check back later. 25 minutes has passed. We let it do a natural release for 5 minutes. Now we're gonna let the rest of the pressure out and fog up the camera. And when the pin drops, then you can take the lid off. All right, and you're going to very carefully take your pot out, and it will be steaming, so be careful. Now at home, if you have a broiler, you can also sprinkle some sugar on top and stick it in a broiler until it gets golden brown and crispy. But in the camper, I don't really have the option, but we've eaten it like this anyway. You could put it in the oven if you have one, or if you are really fancy and have one of those little flame for like creme brulee, then you could do that. But we do it as is because we often eat it with ice cream on top. And so I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and scoop it and throw some ice cream on it. Well, normally I would let it cool a little longer, but I'm ready to eat. So I'm gonna scoop out. Of course, my crust is not as, oven crust. But like I said, if you have an oven and want to put it in the oven, you can do it that way. And we are going to scoop some vanilla ice cream because it's summertime. Of course, ice cream's good anytime. And you know, whipped cream, ice cream, whichever you want to top it with. And there you have it. I hope you enjoy these recipes as much as we do. If you have some suggestions for other things you would like for us to present to you and our viewers, please let me know. Make some comments down below. If you have questions, I'll try to answer those as well. So until then, keep watching, subscribe. We'll see you next time for some more living and learning.